Okay, see, this is a very rare scenario where you may need to use 9 patch image, but it is better to see because chances are there where you will encounter some weird situation. I'll show you what kind of situation is that. When you create a new project, guys, if you see your logo requirement starting from uh, 45 cross 45 to it goes up to 100 or maybe 150, I remember. So you will get a logo of different sizes with a different resolution. If you are not getting from your client, you should be the one to ask them, give them a direction. The current Android badge, as far as this company, they are headless now because they don't know what is actually the requirement. So please put a clarity if you are working on any projects. Hello. Hmm. I am coming tomorrow. Panu, patu panu. Vara, vara. Hmm. See, I started with I downloaded an image. Purposefully, I downloaded that. So, kind of, it is mentioned as a button. If you notice this particular graphics, it has a little curve edges. Uh, but when I use this as a background of any type, for example, my button may be smaller, bigger, or maybe it is going to be a background for entire application, could be anything. But when I use the same button for my background as a background BTN I have used here, you see it's messed up. The edges badly stretched and doesn't give me the pleasure look and feel. It is obvious reason because the edges for this particular aspect ratio, because if the button is an exact same size, where if you are using the same size in your application, no problem. But we do not know what size our application or maybe our phone screen is going to be. So when you use a kind of a curved edges images as far as your design specification, where your design would need some curved background, where you need to maintain the same curve but give the stretching capability in between, we can use a 9 patch a small exe or batch file which is available in your uh, part of your Android SDK install. That will cut the image in such a way this edges is not touched, whereas the button could be stretched only in the middle part, so that the button can be patched as a 9 edges or 9 components. I'll show you how I'm going to do, but first let me see if I can try to fix this. I may add maybe margin. Still not good. I want a nice curve here instead of this kind of a stretched one. So how I can do that? I'm going to use my 9Patch tool. Slightly set it to a comfortable zooming so that you will see all. Okay, this looks fine. If you see when I highlight this area, there's some sort of uh, kind of a border, a kind of lines appearing. I'm going to slightly move this part up to here, and this part up to here. If you notice, the edges, up to the edges, I have slightly moved the horizontal patch and the vertical patch also accordingly. Okay, this will be a nicer one. So if you see, the top two edges is patched in such a way it will be skipped if a image is tried to be stretched. And the same thing I need to do, maybe much better. So vertical and horizontal patch, some 2170 something is there. Okay, oh, then the same one. So it means the edges are not touched. In this case, also the same. So there will be 9 patches in this case. 1, 2, 3, 4 for edges, and the middle part 5, and the lower part 6, above 7, the side part 8, and the 9. So a single image is patched as a 9 segments, whereas the skipped part, for example, which is looking clear without the markers colliding, won't be touched when particular image is getting stretched. The stretching will happen only in the area, of course, in the middle. So maybe some show bad patches. This patch is looking bad. Let me try that. Save the 9 patch. Something I'm going to give. If you notice this particular image, when I try to save it, it gave me a dot 9 dot png, it added a something 9 dot png additional. It tells this particular image is of type 9 patch. Now if you notice, the curves are perfect. Mean this, the four edges not touched. It was not stretching like before, whereas the stretch happened in the only in the middle area. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If you notice in this image, I skipped them. The four edges being skipped. The rest 9 patches is being used for stretching, and that eventually gave me a nice look and feel because edges are not touched, so it is not stretched, and it did not disturb the symmetry. And you can use this for any buttons where the curve, or where it has to be a curve one, or if you want to have some background which is slightly need a curve based design. So this is a simple utility tool available along with your SDK, where you can convert the existing PNG file which is having edges curve, and you can skip that part by duly moving the horizontal and vertical lines, we call them horizontal and vertical patches, moved accordingly so that the edges skipped, the rest of the part can be part of stretch, and then that gave me a nice look and feel. You may or may not use this requirement because it depends on your design document. If it is asked to have some sort of curve look and feel in your design, you may have this. Otherwise, you can skip that, but it's up to you. So that was one of the last part I wanted to talk on the designing side. Other designing is all just a background, and make sure you have a HTML5 color codes opened and use the colors in the HTML type, like HTML color codes, like HTML color code. You can have some sort of utility like this open in while you are developing. So pick the respected colors. If you are using this kind of a green, it is having this color code. So sorry, instead of this background as an image, you can give a HTML color code directly. That will give you the required color. So I would advise you to have some sort of utilities like this. If you cannot remember all the HTML colors, a lot of websites are there which will give you the various color codes. You can directly give a background with a specific color code to have it created. And I would advise you to choose any existing theme instead of creating your own theme. That is eventually is not our job. Theme selection, if you notice in Android manifest, or sorry, inside a values folder, there won't be any requirement of creating your own theme because it is very big area. It's very big theme Android has. You would end up modifying various color schemes codes. Sometime creating a wrong theme will make every all project in a kind of like not readable mode. For some time we will create a theme, you will set the default font color as a white, whereas your theme also will have a background, default background as white. When you see a type of put a text view, your text itself won't appear. So selecting a wrong theme or creating a theme will end up various issues. So better you select whatever default theme is available and try to give a background according to your application. Then on the top you modify, give the colorings and maintain whatever design. See, remember, you won't use this kind of lame look and feel. You will have a higher resolution pictures to to be displayed in your application. And such a thing only I'm going to give it to you. I'm not going to give you some sort of lame colors or whatever it is. Every buttons or every logo icons would be professionally crafted. Of course, it's been used in various other projects. It was developed by various graphic designers. So we will use them. In fact, for a logo or photos or even a list view will have a specific background color schemes. But all you need to know how to set the background for widgets, layouts, and if at all any curved background comes, you should be knowing how to make it 9 patched. So 9 edges or 9 patches of a particular image. So total, if you notice, including 4 corners and other stretch areas, if we count it will come as 9. So an image is patched as a 9 different segments, and it's been used for background. So anything you can use, but you advise you to use this particular tool only if you encounter such a situation where you have a curved backgrounds for a buttons or in fact even for a layout. If you see it, if your graphic designer gives you, instead of demanding him for a various design, you patch it. So 9 patch image can be used as a background. So I'll put it back. I want you to create and check, download any image which is having curved edges and directly import it in your application and see what kind of issues coming, and use the 9 patching, then see what kind of difference you're seeing until you're comfortable with the 9 patching. Because remember, this 9 patch you should attain in this level. Sometimes chances are there this particular horizontal patch you may have forgotten. So if you notice, if you move your cursor in the center, if you notice the edges are not created or it is still part of the stretch, make sure you have them clearly crafted. So you practice this today. Uh, Let me see if anything I can complete from my project requirement document. I'll also work on that. Nexus 1 10.1 tablet. So how it will look like, let's see. So this is for a tablet. See the edges nicely crafted, so no change in design. Whatever screen size, the edges, the symmetry will be maintained even for a smaller screen also. See, these are all the new schemes, new themes, part of Android upgrade. It's really nice, of course. Android is undergoing various transition, but we have to upgrade our Android and as well as Eclipse to a latest version.